Yo, what's going on, guys? And today I had a buddy comment on what somebody, one of the commenters, I guess it is a buddy because you are a subscriber, or I assume you are. Either way, they commented, hey, can you do a Portland Trailblazers? And you got it, man. If you guys want another team that we haven't done up next, let me know. I'm trying to finish all of the already eliminated playoff or non-playoff teams before the playoff teams start to get eliminated. So we're going to start with the Portland Trailblazers. Before we start, this is just like a priorities preview before we do the predictions. So if you guys have any information you guys want to let me know, like things that should be focused on, what you think should be a priority, let me know. That way, when I make my predictions video in 2 weeks for the offseason, I can use some of your guys' comments. So hit that like and subscribe button. Let's talk about it. The Portland Trailblazers are in the first year of their true year rebuild. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, they've been staggering around for the last couple of years. Look, they fully committed, which they should have. And we all know they were able to turn Damian Lillard into a bunch. So they went 21-61 like we were expecting. And they have right now, before the lottery, the Blazers' first round draft position will be set by May 12th draft lottery. The pick coming from Golden State is top 4 protected and would be retained by the Warriors if it lands in one of the top 4 spots after the lottery. Right now, Portland has the 13th% chance of getting the number 1 pick. They have their own, which is the 4th overall pick. They have the 14th through Golden State, and then they have the 33rd or 34th pick through Charlotte and the 40th pick through Atlanta. So with that being said, what do I think something that could maybe happen right there? With the 4th pick, I think they're going to go a wing, and that wing either is going to be Cody Williams, Ron Holland, Zachary Rissache, or maybe even Mateus Buzelis. I'm not as high as Buzelis. I would rather them go after Ron Holland or Cody Williams. I personally think Cody Williams is the best fit and the most likely, as Rissache would probably be unavailable by that time because they're going to be at 4. And then I was saying at 14, they should go after Tijan Saloon, or it's just hard because I don't think they necessarily need guard help because they have Anthony Simons, Scoot Henderson, and Shaedon Sharpe. I think they need to go after some wing help and power forwards because the center position, they have Robert Williams and DeAndre Ayton for at least this next year. So would it be smart to get I don't think they should, if they want a big, get a big in the second round. So it's like low risk, But for me, let's go into this. We all knew that the Portland Trailblazers post Damian Lillard, it wasn't going to be pretty, okay? Like, it was going to take some time. It wasn't going to be something that happened overnight. It wasn't going to be something that was going to happen overnight, and it makes a ton of sense that take the slow approach because that's going to be what yields the best results. And for me, I agree. I think this has been an absolute fantastic first year. We got to see a lot of growth, and I know some people are gonna be like, this and that. I also like that it seems like we're keeping Chauncey Billups, but another thing, Scoot Henderson, he did improve, and I know we're all like, well, Scoot's not the guy we thought he was. That's fine, but I still think he can be a really good player. And damn, I forgot who somebody compared him to, but there was a really good comparison. I don't know if it wasn't Kyle Lowry, but people acted like this guy was going to be Ja Morant, Russell Westbrook, but he's probably a more level-headed playmaker. And specifically post All-Star break, this was a guy who shot 40% from the field, 35% from 3 on 5 attempts from deep, averaging 16.6 points, 7 assists with 3.5 rebounds. And even in April, he averaged 19.5 points, 9.7 assists with 3.5 rebounds, shooting 41% from 3 on 7 attempts and shooting almost 42% from the field on 17 attempts. So there is growth right there. Shaedon Sharpe and Jabari Walker are great players. Malcolm Brogden, Robert Williams III, and DeAndre Ayton are all there. And on top of that, Portland ranked 2nd in most games missed due to injuries, which forced Chauncey Billups to play 40 different starting lineups, the most he's had to play since he took over as coach in 21. The lack of roster stability led to Portland to have its fewest wins since 2005 to 2006, and the Trailblazers are at a critical juncture in their the rebuild, as it starts obviously with this draft. Are they gonna maybe try to flip their assets for something maybe down the road? This is a weaker draft class, so I can understand that maybe they don't want to be drafting at the top. I think where they're at position wise, if they remain there, they're at a position to get players that, they won't be taken too high, but they also, will have room to continue to grow. So for me, I think the biggest thing is looking where they go from the future. So the Trailblazers have 14 players under contract next season, which means they have four selections, arguably 18 players. So some trades are going to happen, including the two lottery ones. And it's too early to tell if they have legit, all NBA all-star players in Scoot and Shaedon, but it looks like they could be very good. So those two are obviously the guys you're hoping are moving at least for the foreseeable 2 years as your franchise cornerstones. And in the development of both players, it's critical for them to take the next step. And I think that's the biggest thing is, Henderson became the first Trailblazers rookie with multiple 30-point games since Damian Lillard. He also finished last amongst all players in field goal percentages on layups and dunks, while also, I think if you look at this, the other stats that we're reading right here are that, he improved, like I said earlier. But yeah, a lot of his numbers aren't great. Sharp averaged a career high, almost 16 points, but only played 32 games due to an abductor injury. His field goal percentage dropped from 47% as a rookie to 40%. Finally, there are financial decisions with this roster. The Trailblazers are in a position where no luxury team should be. The luxury tax and the first apron. DeAndre Ayton, Malcolm Brogden, Jeremy Grant, and Anthony Simons combined to earn 80% of the Trailblazers salary cap, which means someone's probably getting traded. Portland has already $159.5 million in guaranteed salary and ranks 12th in payroll before free agency even starts. That's including the non-guaranteed contracts of Walker and Tamani Kamara plus 2 first-round picks push Portland over the $171 million luxury tax threshold. Walker's $2 million contract and Kamara's $1.9 million contract both become guaranteed on July 20th. Delano Banton, who had a great year this year, has a team option of $1.9 million, which will get picked up, and Portland will have the $5.1 million taxpayer mid-level exception available. The Blazers' $8 million trade exception is not available if the acquiring salary pushes payroll above the first apron. The first apron will also get triggered if Portland takes back more money in a trade. So for me, expect guys like probably Robert Williams and Jeremy Grant, maybe Malcolm Brogdon, and I think those guys are the ones that expect to get traded. So let's continue this and talking about what else they need to do. So as we talked about, Portland is a team that needs to figure out what the priority is this offseason. And I think it is, again, patience, letting this process play out. And Joe Cronin has tipped his hand on the vision of the roster, saying, I want to give these guys a chance to grow and develop and not overly swing at a playoff spot that's unrealistic or that's going to get thumped away right away. So I think that's good. And he wants to make sure this is a quality build that's very sustainable. And the Portland Trailblazers, that they're a team that is the 4th youngest roster in the NBA, I believe. They also have veterans, as I mentioned, Brogdon, Simons, Grant, Williams, Ayton, and Matisse Thybulle. And I personally believe that Williams, Grant, and Brogdon are, at least 2 of those guys are going to be gone. I can see Matisse Thybulle because he's young still, DeAndre Ayton and Simons being the guys that they keep, and then the latter being the ones that they trade. And those 6 players would, have trade value if, obviously all 6 of those players would have trade value if they were made available. DeAndre Ayton averaged 22.7 points and 12.5 rebounds after the All-Star break. Malcolm Brogdon's an expiring contract of $22 million, and he's a former 6th man of the year. Even though I was told by, I'm not going to tell you who told me this, but Brogdon, part of the reason why he was traded from a certain team is Brogdon's allegedly very presidential, like he's smart, but in a president way. And he rubs people the wrong way because if he won't play unless he feels 100%. And he allegedly, I was told by someone I had multiple execs from one team call him a pussy and said that he brainwashed their entire rookie class to not play if they didn't feel up to it. It's a whole thing. They had to get rid of him. So I don't know if you're a Portland Trailblazers fan, what's the report on Brogden these days? Do people like him? I know he said he wants to stay and he likes being there, but I'm very curious to hear your guys' opinions. What do you guys think of Brogdon, and if he's a guy that is someone you want to keep? I think trade him. He'll have value right now, but Williams, who's on one of the best contracts, 12.4 this year and 13.4 next year. So it works out really well right there. And when you look at this team, I mean, they're a team that they have a guy in Robert Williams who was a defensive player of the year. He missed all but 6 games this season. Grant averaged 21 points, his most since 2021, and he has 4 years left of $133 million. Former second-round pick doubled his minutes from 11 this rookie year to 23. He racked double digits 28 times, had 16 double-digit rebounds. He would be eligible to a 4-year, $78 million extension once the $2 million becomes guaranteed. This team needs shooting. They can also extend Malcolm Brogdon, Robert Williams as of July 30th, Simons and Aiden as of July 18th. The Trailblazers ranked last in both three-point percentage and effective field goal percentage. That's why I say Cody Williams is the ideal guy. If they don't want to go to Jean Saloon, maybe they go for one of the guards if they're available that are a good shooter. But the Blazers slowly have built back their first-round equity. Portland is owed first-round picks in 2029 for both Boston and Milwaukee. The Blazers also have the right to swap first with the Bucks in 2028 and 2030. Those assets, along with this year's Warriors pick, if it doesn't land in the top 4, were acquired in trades that sent out Damian Lillard and then Drew Holiday. Portland still owes Chicago a first-round pick that has a top 4 protection through 2028. The Blazers do have 6 second-round picks. So I want to hear your thoughts down below. What do you think the Blazers should do and why?